21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Hey, I'm Miriam Schulman. I'm author of Artpreneur, the step-by-step guide to making a living from your creativity, as well as founder of the Artist Incubator program. I've been coaching artists for the last 5 years, and I've brought many of them over the six-figure mark. I'm also the host of the Inspiration Plays podcast. I've been an artist for over 25 years, but I haven't always been an artist. When I was a kid, I was told you couldn't make a living that way, and I believed them. So I took the practical route and I went to Wall Street. But after 9/11 happened, I knew I couldn't go back to that world. There's nothing like a crisis that's going to lift the veil on what's not working in your life. For me, it was 9/11. For many other people, it was the pandemic. But for some people, it could be a death, an illness, a diagnosis. And those times force us to reckon with our lives and what really matters. And I knew I wasn't living my life purpose. So at first I painted on the side and I taught Pilates at New York Sports Club. But it was then that I learned something very important, because the gym was training me how to sell personal training packages. And I understood that these time-tested strategies for selling could be used to sell anything, including art. That's when I started to shift my focus, instead of working at the gym, to selling my portraits. And since then, I've built a multiple six-figure art business, one I can count on year in and year out. One of the biggest things holding back artists, but not just artists, this could be you too, is the belief that cheaper is easier to sell. Now, artists fall into this trap much more easily because of all the head stuff around the starving artist mindset, that art is difficult to sell, and they believe if only they price their art less, it will sell more easily. But things are not necessarily easier to sell when they're cheaper. Things have to be reassuringly expensive. Let me give you a few examples in your own life where you are actually paying more instead of looking for the lowest price. So for example, do you hire the cheapest babysitter? If your dog or your cat swallows a rubber band and it's a very expensive surgery, but your kids are crying, please say Fluffy, and the surgery is $2,000, you're not going to be looking to see if your son's high school biology teacher can perform the operation for less. You're going to go with what you trust, what you know, even though it's going to cost more money. Those are services. What about bread? You can go to the grocery store and you can buy pre-made bread, pretty cheap some places. Wonder Bread, $3.60. Or you can go to the bakery, which it costs $13. Now, at home, you may want the Wonder Bread. But if you're going to bring the bread to meet a client for dinner or to meet your boyfriend's parents, you're not going to bring a loaf of Wonder Bread. You're going to buy it at the more expensive bakery. Now, I got burned by this too. When I first started out, I didn't know what to charge. So I looked around to see what other artists were charging. And then I did the classic mistake. I charged less than what most people are charging. And I learned my lesson pretty quickly. One of the first times I sat down with a client to choose photos for the portraits that we were going to use, instead of ordering one portrait of each child, she ordered 3 of each child, and she couldn't even afford to frame all of them. Why? Because my paintings cost less than framing. That was a lesson to me. She could have paid 3 times as much. So I raised my prices. selling, you really need to understand the belief triad. So the belief triad, 3 things. 2 of these things you're going to already have heard about, and we're so bored of hearing about that, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in what you're selling. But what I never hear anybody else talking about, which is why I put it in my book, Artpreneur, is the belief triad, that 3rd thing, which is belief in your buyer. Belief in your buyer. And this is what belief in your buyer looks like. Remember in the movie Pretty Woman when Julia Roberts goes to Rodeo Drive, but those mean salespeople won't wait on her? We all think we're not being the mean salespeople. However, how many times when you've gone to sell something have you thought to yourself, oh, I don't think he's gonna go for that. Oh, people don't pay those prices in my town. Oh, maybe I should offer this person my cheaper package. Maybe I should give a discount. That's what not believing in your buyer looks like. But it shows up in other ways. When you're going to close the sale and they're bringing up objections, if you're focused on believing in yourself and believing in your art, and you're trying to convince your customer why you're worth it, why your product is worth it, but you're not thinking about what's in their mind. And what's in their mind? They may already have decided that you're worth it and your product is worth it, but they're still wondering if they're worth it. If they're worth spending $5,000, $10,000, whatever your product costs, so that they can get the result that they want. That's what they might be thinking about. And if you're over here going, bah, 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 trying to prove to them why you're worth it, but they're over there thinking they don't deserve it, you'll lose the sale. So here's something else that I hear a lot of people who teach marketing get wrong. And that is to focus on the benefits. Here's why I don't like that advice at all. Okay, let's take Nike, for example. They're one of the best marketers in the world. And they understand when they're selling sneakers, they're not telling you these sneakers will help you run faster. They're saying just do it. What they're really selling is not the benefit of the sneaker. What they're selling is motivation. They're selling how the product is going to make you feel. Now, if you are an artist, this is very important, but you see how it works not just in the art world. In the art world, you're also selling how the artwork makes the person feel. It's not the benefit. It's not this will fill a blank wall. A mirror can fill a blank wall. But how does this art make them feel, and what does it say about the person who's buying it? We touched upon a few of the mistakes that artists and creatives make. There's actually 5 common mistakes, and they have to do with production, pricing, prospecting, that's building your audience, promotion, that's selling, and productivity. And those are really the 5 pillars that make up any successful business. Really, it doesn't matter if you're an artist or not. My book, Artpreneur, focuses on creating a profitable art business. You can get the book on Amazon. You can request it from your local library. If you want to go beyond the book, though, and want to work with me, my program, The Artist Incubator, focuses on all 5 of the foundations. But here's the thing that keeps most artists stuck. You don't need more information. You need implementation, which is why joining a program like the Artist Incubator gives you not just the strategy, but it gives you the accountability and the feedback that keeps you moving. might be wondering, did this only work for me and will it work for you? Which is why I want to tell you about Lynn Samus. Lynn is a grandmother of 4 from Texas, and she was doing all the right things, or at least she thought. She was in lots of galleries, but in 2023, the galleries had only brought in $13,400 in sales. For some artists, that sounds like a lot, but that's not enough to live on. When she came to me, she had just finished reading the book and she really wanted to implement these strategies. Now, one of the things she was worried about was, did she have to dance on TikTok? Did she have to focus on social media? Now, if you've been following me any length of time, you know I don't emphasize social media a lot, and I kind of stand out from a lot of other artist business coaches who are telling you you need to post more. But here's why it doesn't work anymore. When I wrote my book, An Artpreneur, the average engagement rate on Instagram was only 1%. By the time I went to edit that chapter, it had dropped to 0.6%. That's less than 1 out of 100 people. Not will buy from you, but will click or comment or DM. And now we're in 2026, and the average engagement rate has dropped to 0.36%. And again, that's average. The top of the average are sports teams. The bottom of that average is 0.1. That's where home decor and retail is. So if you're selling something, it's 0.1%. That's 1 out of 1,000 people. 1 out of 1,000 people. So let's get back to Lynn. She had her best month in August of 2024. She made $19,000 selling her art in 1 month. And guess what? That was the month that her Instagram account got shut down. So the strategies she used had nothing to do with social media. And by the end of 2024, she had brought in over $90,000 for her art. And she's not my only success story. I have dozens of success stories, like Nick Duvier, who is now on the short list of Miami artists you should know, or Megan Mayberry, who was able to quit her day job as a teacher, and within 6 months, she made over $40,000 selling headdresses. If you want to get started learning what the 5 biggest mistakes are and how to fix them, I have a masterclass that can help you with that. This is how to sell more art without being Insta famous, so you can jump off that social media hamster wheel. schulmanart.com/sell-more-art.
#21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.